And before I speak, I'd like to invite Todd and Keshava to once again play and sing for us in the spirit, the song that Keshava just sang before. Let's listen not just deeply with our ears, but as we hear this song and the words and the vibration of the words, let's open as much as we can to the deepest meaning of them, because in the deepest meaning of these words is the deepest meaning of the lesson today, is the truth of the infinite Christ.
I was caught up in ecstasy. 'Twas a day sanctified by God. There He showed me the truths of heaven, truths which all seeking Him should know. How the soul made to live in freedom can reclaim its eternal right. How the night born of our delusions can be fired blazing with His love.
That was so beautiful. And I felt like that last note was just carrying us into infinity. Thank you, Todd. You know, part of why this song that Swami Kriyananda wrote is, I mean, it's powerful for so many reasons. as I said before, and as I'm sure you could all feel, just the vibration of it. And then, of course, to have Todd end it differently than it typically ends when the oratorio is being played, so that we just feel lifted, taken, expanded. You won't find a song like this being written by people who are trying to express their love of God or an experience of their religion, because inherent in the words and in the music is the fact that we are all meant to attain this state of self-realization, that place where we've expanded our consciousness into cosmic consciousness perfectly. And that really is a definition of self-realization. We have realized the infinite Christ consciousness. And our line of gurus, and particularly, of course, Paramahansa Yogananda, who came here specifically because we're in such a transitional time right now in the whole world. We're going from a period of time that was all about form, and we're moving into a time that's about essence. And those of us who are on this path and who have been on this path for any period of time know this, and we've heard many times that this is specifically why Yogananda came. He is the guru for this age of energy. I think it's just a coincidence that our affirmation today was about energy, because I've been told Swamiji didn't pair the affirmation with the reading, but it was a beautiful coincidence that it was, because it's exactly that's happening in the world right now. Slowly, we're leaving behind the world of form. This is where Debbie kept getting caught. He wanted to stay in the world of form, and Yogananda was trying to bring him up and into a much deeper, broader, way beyond mind and form way of holding these truths. And I think very sweetly, Swamiji writes about it and says, at some point, Master realized maybe it was just too subtle for him, and so he just ended it sort of cutely and tongue-in-cheek, though with, of course, infinite wisdom, the way he ended it. I'm not going to try and say it right now, I don't have the words, but it left it in a lighter place than him continuing over and over to share truth with Debbie, who I don't know him, I don't know that much about him, but he wasn't getting it. Interestingly, Swami Kriyananda got it, because he was able to bring it back and share it with us with this beautiful teaching of the week, the infinite Christ consciousness. And so we heard that in the song. It dawned on me yesterday as I picked up the reading. You know, Christmas was 4 weeks ago, just 4 weeks. Now, I won't speak for anybody else, but I remember that during Christmas, and maybe in a way for me particularly this Christmas season, because now we've just had our second year of doing this 12 days of Christmas, so we just dive deeper and deeper and deeper. It's not, how can we say it's not only or simply, that's ridiculous, but usually it's Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Not so. this year. This year it's 12 nights, and we just kept diving into this experience, and I'm calling it that consciously, of the infinite Christ. And I remember, and many people participated, and everybody's participation was beautiful, and it was beautiful because everybody went deep. Everybody dove deep into the teachings to share for those days. But the night that we had a program called Christmas with Yogananda, I just had the great good fortune of giving the talk that night. There was a whole beautiful program, but I gave a talk, and to give that talk, I remember, I just meditated for days. Read a little, meditate, read a little, meditate. What did Master mean by the second coming of Christ, which is exactly this, that birth of Christ consciousness in each of our hearts? And I was able to have the opportunity not just to say some words about it for 20 minutes, but to, I felt, share the experience of even with Master, with Yogananda, just approximating that feeling, that experience of just, the truth of our existence. We're not here to gain anything, to learn more. We're here to remember. We're not here to achieve things. We're here to uncover the truth of who we are that's already there. When somebody asked the Buddha, "What have you gained through meditation?" Buddha said, "Nothing. But ask me what I've lost." And he went on and he said, "I've lost greed, I've lost fear, I've lost desires, I've lost the fear of illness, the fear of death." So through meditation, through the techniques that we've been given, Buddha himself said, this is where we're going. We don't gain anything. We lose a lot of the delusion, how the night born of our delusions can be fired blazing in thy light. Born of our delusion. But if we let the light in, if we can do that, then we see who we really are, which is why not just our masters, but all true masters come. This is what they're trying to show us. And it's a stretch. It's so challenging, this lesson. Yesterday I thought, this could be every Sunday service. Everybody would get up, everybody would say something differently, and it would all be true. Because it's hard. Swamiji alludes to it in his writing today. Swami Kriyananda himself knew a lot about Yogananda before he met him. He had read the autobiography of a yogi. He knew he had attained the state of samadhi. He read that beautiful chapter in the AY that described what that was. He knew of all of these experiences that Master had. He knew that Babaji himself, this ever-living saint in the Himalayas, imagine just hearing this all for the first time. We hear about it all the time now. But Swamiji was 22, he knew none of this. And he reads that there's a saint who's ever living who says to Lahiri Mahashaya, I'm going to send you the man, the soul, the avatar, who can take these teachings to the West. And that's Yogananda. And then Swami Kriyananda goes and meets him. And he said to us many times, he said, you have no idea how difficult it was. You know all this about this person. You know what's possible, this being. And then he's a man, and he's asking you to go shopping with him and to buy him cookies and dig, pour cement for him for a swimming pool he'll never use. It's just, you literally can't wrap your mind around it. What do you do with it? I was thinking yesterday about the story, which I've heard Ananta tell. I mean, of course, I had read it before, but about Krishna and his mother, Yashoda. And he's a little boy, and he picks up mud, and he eats mud. Now, so what would any mother do? She grabs him, and she's going to take the mud out of his mouth. She opens his mouth, she looks in, and she sees all of the planets in the universe spinning. She sees the Milky Way in her little boy's mouth. How do you make any sense of that? You can't. So what does she do? She closes his mouth. She sends him on his way. She's going to go on. She's going to change his diaper. She's going to do everything a good mother would do. But she saw the infinite Christ consciousness. Every true teacher comes to say to us, this is who you are. This is what's available. Our masters came very particularly to deliver this message, but it's always there. It's not easy, of course, because nothing in the world supports it. Nothing in the world. Spiritual community supports it. Coming here for these teachings, meditation, all of the techniques that Master brought to us, Yogananda. The first technique he gave us, Hang Sa, I am that. Otherwise, nothing. So we have to bring such great energy to it. I want to just pause for a moment and say to all of you that a very dear friend of ours, most of you who are watching will know her, Anandi Cornell, is quite ill right now. She was just diagnosed with a very aggressive form of cancer. And it came on very quickly. She wasn't feeling well, but it was nothing that even took her to the doctor. And then the first doctor's visit, the whole story gets told. Not a good story. But for those of you who know Anandi or who didn't know Anandi, she is just a manifestation of light, of joy, of utter simple truth. She's just extraordinarily wise and extraordinarily lovable. I was thinking about her last night, and I'm talking about her right now because since I heard that she was ill, I've been going back and watching some of her talks and her Sunday services. I've always enjoyed listening to Anandi, but I just felt to be near her now when her husband, Bharat, shared in some letters, and I don't know who's received which letters. It almost doesn't matter. But he was sharing so beautifully about their sharing the possibility that she's getting ready to leave. And he just wrote a few paragraphs about it. But it was so, the truth was so magnificently and through the heart with such wisdom shared that I felt myself, I would say wistfully, but it was deeper than that, longing for that freedom. That's what came to me. It felt like the truth. It felt like going home, which is how he referred to it. And Nandi and I are thinking that she might be getting ready to go home. It wasn't told like she was going anywhere foreign. It was the way, I can say I feel, and others have shared, when I travel for many years now, because I live in spiritual community, when I come home, it's this very uplifting, calm, peace, joy. That's what it feels like to me, coming home. Because home, it's the best place I could be. No matter where I've traveled, no matter how great it is, I get to come back to this community with my friends who are gurubais, who are seekers. And when Bharat wrote that phrase, I thought, wow, the ultimate home. Anyway, I'm just sharing all of that with you. As I'm sharing, I'm realizing they are also living this teaching that we're talking about. But I wanted to use a lot of Anandi's stories today, and I wanted to say they're Anandi's stories. So the one that just came to mind was because I was saying this is not easy, this path to superconsciousness, this path to remembering that infinite Christ consciousness that informs every atom in the universe means us too. It's the power that flows through us that allows us to have the willpower, the courage, the desire, everything that's involved in wanting to go home. We remember it. It beckons to us. It sort of still can bewilder us at times, not like it's a straight path. Oh, I get it. Okay, I'm going home. Doesn't usually happen like that. It can take quite a while, but we hear it, but we have to work hard at it. And Nandi tells the story of a woman that she met who was a dental hygienist. She was born and raised in a Middle Eastern country, and she was apparently so good at what she did that she was the dental hygienist for the palace, for the king and the princesses. And one in this country, and Nandi said she didn't remember if it was Iran or Iraq or what it was, but one day the dental hygienist went to the palace, and the princess, one of the princesses, came in, and she looked really down. And the woman, who Anandi knows, said to her, "What's wrong? You don't look like yourself today." And the woman said, "Well, I hired myself a personal trainer." And Anandi said, not Anandi, but this woman said, "Well, that sounds great." And the woman said, "No, it's not great. He expects me to do the exercises." Like, yes, we have to work. We actually have to work hard on this path. I brought these notes because I really wanted to remember some of these stories, is why this is here, because they're so utterly beautiful about this topic. See, I realize that I'm running out of time for all of Anandi's stories, so maybe many of them will have to find their way into another talk. And they will, because she shares those stories that help us move forward on this journey towards peeling away the layers that, very much like a sculptor, was it Michelangelo, who said, "I just chip away everything that's not whatever it is I want it to be." Everybody here is shaking their head, yes. It's just like that. That's what we're doing in this life. Does that feel easy? God comes at you with a hammer and a chisel, and big chunks of karma go flying off? not always pleasant, but in there, after all of that's removed, all of what we've been led to believe, all of the delusion, all of the darkness, when we realize the truth of I am the way, the truth, and the light, that it is such a mystical quote, as Swami says so often, misunderstood. But what does that mean? It means infinite Christ consciousness is in every atom of creation, and that we have to realize it in creation before we can become one with it beyond creation. And those are hard words to understand. But if we keep practicing, then we get there, beyond mind, in ways we can't imagine. Let me just finish with, not in ways we can, yes, in ways that we can't imagine, but we can't even plan it. We simply need to keep doing what all of the masters have asked us to do. We need to keep practicing these techniques that Yogananda brought. We need to keep chanting. I do this list so many times, I'm embarrassed to do it again, except it's the truth. It's just how we get there. I want to finish by sharing a dream that Dharma Devi, who's a co-spiritual director of the Ananda LA community, she told me about this dream, but Anandi also told it in one of her sermons. Dharma Devi has the most amazing dreams, and they're always, or very often, I guess the ones she shares, they're deep and they're life-changing. So in her dream, after a period of time in her life of working on the quality of kindness, so Dharma Devi was wanting to work on that quality. She has a dream, and in the dream, a woman comes within her, into her vision. And she sees immediately that this woman is the embodiment of kindness, just everything she's been wanting. And then she says, this is all in her dream, but who is this woman? And she looks, and then she realizes, that's me. But she doesn't look anything like me. And then in her dream, she remembers Yogananda saying, if you practice Kriya regularly, in a very short time, you won't even recognize yourself. Isn't that a beautiful, beautiful dream? So it always sounds so simple and so easy to feel like, oh, the repetition of it. Meditate more, do more Kriya, practice Hangsa. But it is the way. It's the way to truth and to the light. And there is no other way. And what an extraordinary gift that we are all a part of this transitional time throughout the universe, that we have teachers who come and say to us, you are a part of all that is. It's not like what everybody else has told you. God is not simply someplace else, wholly apart from you and apart from everything. God is within. And every one of us can attain that realization, can feel that joy, can live in that love if we will simply follow these masters, beautiful, made for us, delivered with pure, divine love instructions. God bless you all.
Love is all I know. Sun rays on the snow of a winter long, in darkness without song. Oh, my heart's afire, burning all desire. Only you remain, and life again. Too long I did stray, flung lifetimes away, imagined you did not care. I know now your smile was mine all the while. I listened and love was there. I can't breathe for love, all the stars above call to me, come home. Life's waves all end in foam. Only love can heal all the pain I feel. What a fool was I to turn away.